Hello and welcome to the Visionary Leaders Community Call. We meet every Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. On Zoom, we stream this live to Facebook, and then the recording gets put up on YouTube and all podcast channels. So whether you're joining us live or you're listening to the replay, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so happy that you're here. At the time of this recording, we are all just getting back from the US holiday break. We had the Thanksgiving holiday. So I caught my kids cold and Dr. Josie's in Vermont. And so if we're a little like, that's what's going on, but happy to be back and sharing with everyone. We have a really fun subject today. Most weeks we talk about health related, wellness related, essential oil related topics. And today we wanted to bring in the topic of sharing doTERRA, earning an income, and specifically, what can you do during the holidays to kind of keep that ball rolling? So first, I just want to introduce the people that are on this call that have so much wisdom to share. And after I introduce them, I'll tell you a little bit about my story. So we have Dr. Josie Schmidt. She's a Blue Diamond with doTERRA, which just means she's helped a lot of people not only bring the essential oils and the supplements into their home, but she's also helped a lot of people launch their own doTERRA businesses. And then we also have Ariana Harley, who is a diamond with doTERRA. Both of them live in Portland, Oregon. And Ariana, too, has helped many people bring these oils into their life and these supplements into their life. And she has been able to create a business for herself. I know that it retired Ariana from the production industry, which is similar to my story. And it retired Dr. Josie from active naturopathic practice. Do you ladies want to say anything to introduce yourself before we jump in further? That was my kind of take on your qualifications to be talking about this subject.
No, thank you, Erin. That was wonderful.
I'm hoping that this can be a roundtable discussion, and those of you who chose to be on camera, we will love to hear from you as well, and maybe you can help us with some questions. But first, I'll also share just a little bit about how I came to be sharing doTERRA and earning an income with doTERRA. So I was in the production industry as well, movies, music, things like that, but it's not a very healthy industry to be in. Do you agree, Ariana?
100%. It's exhausting. There's a lot of energy into like, I only slept 4 hours and that's praised, right? You know, I haven't drank water for 5 hours because I don't want to have to go pee because I'm working so hard. So it's very, very intense industry.
Yeah, I remember not really being a smoker, but I noticed that people who smoked cigarettes got breaks. So I would go out and stand with the cigarette smokers, and I started smoking cigarettes. I mean, that's kind of a good story that exemplifies what that industry is like. So my health wasn't doing well, and I just had this thought, it would be so great if I could find a job that one of the requirements was health and wellness. Like that would really help me and help my body. So I was exploring different options. I thought about becoming an acupuncturist. I thought about becoming a yoga teacher. Those were all things that I loved to do and were really helpful in healing my body. I knew about essential oils because my mom loved them and used them from the time I was about 11 years old. So I was very familiar, but I never really got into them quite as much as my mom did. And one day I got introduced to doTERRA. And there was something about the oils. Has anybody else experienced this? I smelled the doTERRA oils and there was something different. It was almost like they were more alive, I guess. They had more energy behind them. And they kind of bypassed my thinking brain. I would say went to my core instinctual brain, because I just looked at the person and I couldn't even hear what he was saying anymore. And he was probably talking about doTERRA owners and how great they are and how great their compensation plan is and blah, 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 right? I wasn't hearing any of it. I just was smelling this oil and I was like, whatever you're talking about, I'm a yes. I don't even know what it is, but I'm a yes. My body said yes to the oils. They knew that I needed them. And at that time, I was really looking for a form of income. Now, this is an important part of the story that I kind of want to make sure everybody hears. I did not have dreams of becoming a blue diamond. That wasn't why I got into doTERRA. I looked at this bonus structure we have called the Power of 3 bonus. Is anybody getting parts of their Power of 3 bonus yet? We'd love to celebrate you. Yes, yay. Such a good bonus. So it's basically if you help 3 people get their doTERRA products and have their accounts and they're ordering every month, doTERRA sends you a $50 bonus. And if those 3 people help 3 people, doTERRA gives you a $250 bonus, and that person gets a $50 bonus. And then if you help those 9 people find their 3 people, your bonus becomes $1,500 a month. So I looked at that. I understood that. That was the only thing I wrapped my head around when it came to the doTERRA compensation plan, because everything else was just a bit too much information. Has anyone ever felt that way? TMI, too much? Yes. But I went, oh, what would $1,500 a month do to me in my life? And I want to ask you that. Please put it in the comments. What would an extra $1,500 a month do for your life, for you, for your health, for your family's life, for your future? I'll tell you what I thought of. I can't wait to read what you thought of. For me, I had been stressing in my job, right? In the production industry, you go gig to gig. So you might have a 3 to 6 month gig, you're making good money, but when that gig ends, the money ends. And if you don't book another gig, you don't know when you're going to get paid again. So I would stress about paying rent every month. Be like, where am I going to get my rent from this month? Is there going to be a job? So the first thing that came to my mind was, if I could have $1,500 a month residual income, and what residual means is you get it every month. It kind of keeps coming. You do the work now. There's work to do every month, but it's something that comes every month. Rent would be paid, and that would take a level of stress off of my body and my mind and my spirit. And then maybe I'd be able to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. That was my thought process, right? I had no intention for doTERRA to become my full-time job or to be spending my days here with all of you, training you on doTERRA. So that's what motivated me. That's what we call a why. And we're going to talk about this concept of a why often in this Zoom call and on this training, because without a why, you really won't be able to get off the ground. The why is what motivates us. It is what inspires us. Sometimes you have to get outside your comfort zone when you're doing something like doTERRA. And so you have to have that why. So there it was for me. That was my why. I wanted to stress less. I wanted to heal my body. I wanted to have space to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. So I jumped in head first, and I immediately thought of people who would want to do this with me. And so this is kind of a clue to all of you who are thinking that you might want to share doTERRA, or you might be trying to earn income with doTERRA. I hope that's your first thought. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes your first thought is, who can I sell these oils to? And I would just like you to flip that switch in your brain. And let's have the first thought be, who would I like to partner with in this business? Who would I like to do this with? So Josie and Ariana, Rebecca, Florence, we all get to see each other every year, at least at the annual convention. And these ladies have become my dear, dear friends. So you will meet people in doTERRA that become your friends. But first, let's ask yourself, who is currently your friend, or someone you love, or someone who inspires you, and ask them, to come do it with you. I'm going to tell you who my first person was, but first I want to go read about your power of threes. And please, Josie or Ariana, if there's anything you want to throw in here while we're chatting. Love it.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that for me, I also wanted to get out of the production industry. I was pretty exhausted, and I definitely was at the point as a mother needing income, and had that same stress about just, will I get another job and will I have my rent payment? But another huge part of my why was I had gotten really disconnected. So a lot of the people in my community at the time drank, they liked to hang out in bars. And I was really moving. I was a mother, and I was wanting to create more community and connect with people who are just more focused on health and wellness. So just wanted to say that that really transformed my life, and the power of connection was a great wealth to me, just as my financial wealth is. Sometimes maybe even greater. It was pretty huge for me. And so the transformation of being connected with this community for the past 10 or 11 years, I think it's been, has just been so powerful. So I just wanted to, as we get older and just trying to connect with people and make friends. And I found other people who were like, oh, they like to meditate with oils, or they wanted to go on hikes, or they wanted to go do stuff I wanted to go do. I was leaving like a background of art school and really creative people, but a lot of people who, like, when they hung out, they drank. And I was like, I don't want to go to a bar and drink. So I just wanted to put a little just plug in for the community, and that connection piece is so vital.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that in. I agree. That was a big part for me. I heard early on in my doTERRA business this concept that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And when I was working in the production industry, exactly, the people I was spending time with were not really the best people. They had addictions or other things going on. And so that was a big part of it as well. So it's important to remember that as you begin to talk to people about the doTERRA business, that for some it's the money, for some it's the health, and for some it's the community, and for some it's all 3. But each of those elements hold a lot of value and can be very important. Okay, there's some great things in the comments. Ariana said she'd travel more. Isabel said it would help her pay her mortgage. Florence, your first thought is it would help you with your house payment. That's huge, right? If you could do 6 months to a year of work, like very focused work, getting out of your comfort zone, really talking to people, and that gave you your guaranteed house payment for the rest of your 30-year loan, would it be worth it? Sometimes I will coach people in doTERRA, and they might be frustrated because they want to be diamond or they want to be blue diamond, and they've only gotten to gold or they've only gotten to silver. And I understand the disappointment. I would like to be triple presidential diamond, and I've only gotten to blue diamond. But we kind of have to remember that even $500 a month, even $1,500 a month for an extended period of your lifetime is worth so much. And if you would be willing to put in 6 months to a year of this very focused work, you will most likely be able to create that. And so that's important to remember and to connect to the work you're doing, because in doTERRA, you don't necessarily go put in 10 hours and then get a paycheck. You invest hours and you're building something that may not be paying you very much right now, but will pay you in the long term. I wish Aisha was here, because my favorite story of Aisha Harley is when she came to me with her first doTERRA paycheck, and it was for $13. And she was like, this isn't worth it. Like, I can't do this. I'm teaching all these classes. We're doing all this stuff. And luckily I asked her to just host one more class. Let's just do one more class. And at that class, she sold a big kit, and she was able to get a bigger fast start check so that she could see the value. But now Aisha's traveling in Europe. And doTERRA pays for that. And it's so easy to look in the beginning and be like, I'm working so hard and this isn't paying off. I myself worked really, really hard for 12 months. And the only thing I got at the end of 12 months was my LRP paid for. So I broke even at the end of 12 months. And for some, that would be like, this isn't working, I can't do this. But I had vision, and I knew that most businesses take 3 to 4 years before you even break even. And here's another little statement that I heard early on that changed everything for me. I'm going to pass it on to you. You might want to write it down. If you treat this like a hobby, it will be a hobby income. If you treat it like a business, it'll be a business income. So that was one of my first moments was, oh, I'm going to treat this like a business. And businesses take 3 to 4 years before they even break even. So if I broke even in year 1, I'm winning. This is awesome. And then year 2, my rent was paid. And year 3, I was making more money than I've ever made in my life, beyond what I had ever planned for. Okay, Josie, you have a great one here. Do you want to just share it live? I would love to hear you talk about that.
Oh, hey, yeah. Before I even talk about the 1,500 bonus, I just wanted to reiterate, I was thinking, oh, this is an origin story. It's like, for me, the same thing. Aisha's a dear old friend of mine that we were on the mat with yoga together for many years. And I watched her working with the doTERRA essential oils. And I was familiar with Young Living. And I had some Young Living bottles that I made some fun sprays out of. But as a naturopath, I did not consider, we were not schooled in essential oils as kind of herbal medicine in our medicinary. And so I didn't consider it that. And, more for like energetic and beauty and fun. And so when I first smelled the frankincense, doTERRA's frankincense, same thing, Arin, happened with me. There was this intuitive higher body, multi response. And I was just like, this is medicine. This is much more than I thought it was, and it kind of went from there, but it was very much an experience for me and a recognition. I think so at the time I'd been working full-time as a naturopath for 11 years. And I had a simultaneous dream to be a jeweler, a pretty high level jeweler. This is one of my old pieces of art. And a partner I was working with. And so I was kind of transitioning out of clinical practice and trying to work up in, I had this business plan and this whole idea into selling to Bergdorf's and places like that. And this was before 2008. And then 2008, the crash happened. And if you're working in commodities like gold and gemstones, you know what that would do to a business. The world changed after that. And so jewelry changed. And my whole business kind of shifted. And I was in a business plan of taking side nursing shifts to help support the bills in this transition for a year. And that year turned into 3.5 years. And I was kind of stuck, and I was about to transition back into practicing full time. And that's when this happened. Started smelling the frankincense, and I was starting to see a couple patients. I was working out of my house in a intimate way. I hadn't yet moved. I started moving into group practices again. And I kept getting this, I kept getting energetic yeses. I was in a real place of surrender as well about what is the right path for me. Really looking for that. I did not see myself as a network marketer or a salesperson. I was a naturopath and a jeweler. And it kept flowing, not just the business. So I would work with my patients and the protocols I would come up with, the essential oils I would do with turnover. I created a whole hormone balancing protocol And then I created one for women I was working with, and created one then with the essential oils and with the LLV, with the vitamins. And I started trialing it with a couple of my clients, my patients, and it worked much better. The frankincense was working much better for me, for my early brain fog, than the really high level doctor supplements I was working with. I just kept getting these hits of like, this is the medicine I want to work with. And that's how that transition happened.
I'm glad we got to hear that story from you, Dr. Josie, because I think something that we have to offer as a team that goes maybe, I don't know what the right word is for it. We don't emphasize it enough when we're talking to someone that we want to do this business with. So as you're on this call and you're thinking about, oh, I want to do this business with my best friend, or I want to do this business with my naturopath or my chiropractor. As you prepare yourself to go talk to them, remember that this team was founded, this community was founded, our website and our webinars was founded by Dr. Josie. She's one of the founding members. What that means is we have access to all her protocols. We probably have a webinar on all these different subjects. So when you approach someone, you're not just inviting them to join another network marketing company, because let's be honest, there's a million of those. And how many times do we see it on Facebook, or a friend from high school reaches out to us and we don't necessarily want to be that person. I don't want to be that person. But what we have to offer is medicine connected to a real income opportunity that's held together by leadership that includes Dr. Josie and her protocols. Oh, so I know this is story time. I hope that this is weaving these bits of wisdom and this pathway for you, so you can see a pathway. And what I want to exemplify and repeat is, you do not have to want to be a diamond or a blue diamond or a presidential diamond. You could want your home medicine paid for. If there's someone on this call or this replay and you have been loving MetaPower, maybe you want to start the Lifelong Vitality Pack, you have a collection of oils that you need. Little side note, I just rediscovered an essential oil solution that has absolutely blown me away. And if I was not yet a doTERRA wellness advocate, this would make me want to be one. I've been struggling with tension in my neck, mostly from having a 2-year-old, but also just stress and tension. I've been seeing physical therapists. I've gone to a chiropractor. I started the MetaPower, all these things, nothing has helped until I finally remembered the power of marjoram. Does anybody experience the power of marjoram? So I started putting 2 drops under my tongue about every hour. And I did that for a full day. And the tension completely released from my body. Completely released. What I have not been able to solve in all these other modalities. It was just a moment where I was like, oh, that's right, they're medicine. Like really, truly medicine. And that just fuels for me why I want to go share. So you might be listening to this call and be similar to me, where you need your bottle of marjoram. Or like Josie, you need your bottle of frankincense. And perhaps it is stretching your family's budget to spend that $100, $200 a month on these oils. So the doTERRA business can be a way for you to get that medicine for free, to get it paid for, because you could create an income from doTERRA that gives you $100, $200 a month, and that immediately is a rebate for your order. You might be someone who's thinking, I would love an extra $500 a month. Here's a cool idea. What if you already have a job that you love? You're already earning enough. Your family is well taken care of. What if you could start putting $500 a month into an investment account? Hey, the stock market's on sale right now, right? The stock market is on sale. What if you had $500 a month that you could go and buy stocks with and just build that up over the rest of your lifetime? Perhaps you put it into an account for a grandkid. Perhaps you start a nonprofit and you're doing that with the money. So there's that approach. Then there's the approach of, I need $5,000 a month to take the edge off my expenses. You could create that. Maybe your vision is to create 6 figures with doTERRA. That's there for you too. So I just want to make sure that we remind everyone that this is an inclusive space, and the opportunity for you and the opportunity for the people that you can invite to join you includes everything from free products all the way to 6 figures and anywhere in between. And it does not require that you quit your job. It does not require that you don't have another passion. In fact, I'm going to talk about how important another passion is. It does not require that your doTERRA money actually pay your bills. You could enroll someone who's a millionaire, but they love the products and the oils, and maybe they have a passion project. Maybe they want to create more money. Like, just because someone's a millionaire doesn't mean that they don't want to create more wealth or more abundance. So there's so much possibility here. And when you take the pressure of what you think it means to build a doTERRA business out of the equation, it becomes very fun and joyful, and you can get really creative with it. So I'm just going to check the chat if there's anybody that wants to share anything. Yes, Marjoram, I'm so glad other people know the joy of marjoram. It's so amazing.
Arin, can you do a little more detail on, for me, the medicine side of that story was about small, frequent daily doses and focusing on your connection with the plant medicine of a single oil.
Yes.
So I love that. But yeah, maybe just speak about your uses of it in small, frequent. Like, sure. It's not just putting it on once or twice.
And it's not put it on.
And you were taking it.
In this case,
yes, you were imbibing.
No topical application. And in fact, for months, to the point of giving myself a rash, I've been applying oils to the area. And what I realized was, this isn't what's going on with my body, is not something that can be fixed with massage, manipulation. Like, I've done energy medicine. I had an energy medicine session where I was totally pain-free for 24 hours, and then it came right back in. So I think part of this marjoram story for me is recognizing that there's a time and a place for internal use. And for what Dr. Josie's talking about, I put 2 drops under my tongue. It tastes pretty good. And there's this interesting numbing sensation that happens in your tongue, which was important for me to remember, that that numbing sensation that's happening in my tongue will be happening throughout my whole body. So I did 1 to 2 drops under my tongue every hour, pretty much for 24 hours. And I could feel it changing. The other thing I did is that night I took 2 drops of vetiver in a capsule, because I also noticed I wasn't sleeping deeply enough. So my body wasn't rejuvenating. And what's cool about it is I'm out of marjoram. So I was at the bottom of my bottle. I had not reordered because I wasn't using marjoram. And so I got a full 24 hours in. Then the next day I probably got 2 to 3 drops 4 times a day. And then I ran out. And what is amazing is my body reset. So it's not like the marjoram was gone and suddenly all my tension came back. I still have to work with it. It's still there, but the marjoram reset my body. And what I've been thinking about too, and maybe Josie or Ariana, you have thoughts on this. Florence, you might, as an aromatherapist. I was thinking, if I had been drinking marjoram tea out of the herbs, would I have gotten the same results? Or is it, I see Rebecca going, is it the fact that essential oil is the concentration of everything that's in the plant that is medicine? Not to say that leaves aren't also medicine, right? There's going to be vitamins and things present in the leaves of marjoram. But what's amazing about having an essential oil that's pure enough for us to ingest is I would have had to ingest probably like, I don't know, a gallon-sized bucket of marjoram leaves to get the amount of marjoram marjoram medicine that I got in my body. So I'm curious about that, if anybody has comments on that. Because this really was that I was able to take that concentrated marjoram of medicine internally to reset my central nervous system so I could let go of the tension.
Erin, I would love to share a story. So moving back to when you were talking about just getting your product paid for, when I started using the product, a life changer for me was actually our supplements, the Lifelong Vitality Pack. And at the time I was prescribed Percocet for pretty intense muscular pain. I'm hypermobile, so I started getting arthritis in all my joints very early in my 30s. And I was on a trajectory to I was pretty young, and I was on a trajectory to just be put on more and more medication, was what the doctors were starting to do. And that really scared me. And I also didn't want to be taking Percocet every day or for the rest of my life by any means. And so I just want to say too, it's so beautiful how sometimes when we heal, then our vision expands too. So when I started, I was not focusing on doTERRA as a business. I hadn't even really contemplated that possibility. And what moved me was the experience of healing and finding something like the marjoram story that helped the pain that I had been working on with practitioners, with doctors, with massage therapists for years, and nothing was really working. And so what was so powerful for me was to find hope again, because I was starting to get really discouraged. Because if anybody has had like autoimmune or just things that are a bit more mysterious and they're hard to diagnose, and you go to practitioners and things kind of help, but not really. And you're sitting there going, oh, it can be really discouraging. And so for me, it was also the power, like when I started doing the business, at first I just started to share the product because I wanted to help people who were also struggling with different things. And I was finding this medicine that was working. And then I also at the time was a private contractor who did not have health insurance. And so having just that money for getting my product paid for at that time in my life was huge, because it allowed me to do that. It allowed me to buy those supplements and the essential oils every month, because as a mother at the time, all my money was going to my bills and the rent and just my overhead. And so that's where I started. And then it grew into making some extra money every month, which was great. And then it grew into a job being my full-time income. And I was at a space where I could say, wow, I can retire from this industry that's also contributing to how much pain I am, because my job was hauling. I fed film crews. So I was hauling all of these like coolers and water bottles and being on location. And it was really, really intense. And so I just wanted to speak for the power of supplemental income for all of us, but especially for women and for mothers. That's, was so huge. And also the power of our education. And like Erin was mentioning, having access to doctors and protocols, because at the time, I didn't have the money to go pay a naturopath. I didn't have the money like to pay out of pocket for all of these things. I have health insurance now, but at the time I didn't. And so that was so huge for me. And I talk to people a lot. Like, I'm like, wow, if you're on a limited income or if you have to make really hard choices, we offer profound education. I'm not saying don't work with doctors, and there's a time and place for doctors by all means, but it was like, oh, I can get all this education that we offer in our team for free. And then I can focus my money on getting the supplements and the product at an amazing price. And then I can get it paid for. And then actually I was like, and then I can make extra money. So I just want to highlight that because it was just so huge. And Josie, I know you wanted to say something.
Well, that was a huge shift for me in seeing this as why I would want to work with this as a business. Was one of my hiccups in being a naturopath. My sister is very into social justice, and she's a nurse practitioner, and we would get into these things because she's like, yeah, your medicine is only for rich people. Like, natural medicine ain't available. It's not socially, it's not like possible for people who aren't privileged. And that would always rub me. And I would have, I was following my intuition in my heart with the medicine. And I was like, sometimes that's true. So when this came along, and it was first sold with the medicine and then the vitamins. I was snobby about them at first. Like, I'm an expert in vitamins. I don't need to look at essential oil company's vitamins. But once I saw how and felt how the LLV, the Lifelong Vitality Pack, worked, and the formulation, the quality, and then the value of what was encapsulated in a Lifelong Vitality Pack, and how you could get that through their loyalty rewards system at below wholesale, and other supplements that were as high value or even more. Like, I love the deep blue polyphenol complex. I love these ones that in naturopathic, like that one supplement, to get anything of equal quality and value in a naturopathic doctor line, you're going to pay over $100 for that one supplement, the deep blue polyphenol complex. And the LLV, you couldn't match that for under $300 or $400. And those are like baseline. That's our foundational stuff. Then you go and treat specifically what the person came in to, with you. You kind of need to help nourish the pathways, do all this stuff. So when I saw how that was available through their system, it really dawned on me, this is it. This is how I can make natural medicine socially just, of justice and available to people if they're willing to kind of see it and work with the Lifelong Vitality and the loyalty rewards system. And then they can be getting their oils, and we can work with specific protocols. But it became like, this is as inexpensive and high quality as natural medicine is going to be. And that was really the cincher for me as a practitioner, to say, I want to hitch my wagon on this one company. I am going to align myself and say, this is what I endorse and recommend to work with, the supplements and a lot of the plant medicine. Of course, there's sometimes some other things that people need and you work with, and other practitioners and body, great. But as this is baseline to then be able to, that is literally how I built my business, was on protocols, helping people and helping them work with natural medicine at the best value and a better value of what they would get. And it became such a joy, because then I get paid through the structure and the business plan of doTERRA. And that was when I started to feel real freedom as a practitioner, is I didn't have to actually ask for a fee. That's always hard for me. And so to sort of say, yes, if you're working with this system and this medicine and this is, there's really good reasons why I endorse this, I actually get paid. So now all your money can go towards the medicines, and you don't have to pay me an individual fee. Now, if you're doing some other body work or some other things, then it's only dharmically correct that we are all, there's a fair exchange of energy. But that exchange of energy for my services, I felt like for my expertise, was happening. I was being compensated through doTERRA's business plan, and I didn't have to, as a naturopath with consults on protocols, I didn't have to do that anymore. And that was very freeing.
Well, it's so powerful. I worked with a client, and sat with her, the same thing. I could work for free because I was selling the products, so I could consult her for free. And she burst into tears, and she had the problem she'd been working with for 12 years. It was debilitating. She worked in the same industry as me and had children and worked very, very hard. And she burst into tears because I was the first person in 12 years who actually sat and listened to her. She had 15-minute, 20-minute consults with doctors who never listened to what she was going through. Basically, they were the experts. They weren't solving her problems. And she was totally exasperated. And so what a powerful thing where I had solutions to offer her. I'm not claiming to be a doctor. I'm not a doctor, but I believe part of the healing, and I know it to be true from my study in counseling, there's neuroscience on this, which is the body is a whole body system, right? And so part of being heard and being able to express what's wrong and feeling safe is part of the healing practice. And that's what I love working in this community as well, is it's working with people who care and who have so much to offer. And then everyone has all these beautiful zones of genius. Like, I love working in this community where I'm just like, wow, it's like Josie and Arin and so many of you offer these beautiful highlights of like what their personal zone of genius is and how they communicate. And so I also want to say that too. I mean, it was a privilege and an honor to be able to sit with her and have her trust me and have her share her story with me, and then actually have something on my table that I was like, smell this, here you go, right? Like, to be able to have something when someone's grieving or someone's in pain. Or I had so many people when I was teaching classes, like, tell me stories of, I've had a headache for 15 years that never goes away, and they don't even talk to their family about it. It was a mother, and she was busy taking care of everyone else. And I put some past tense on her and the relief that she had. So for me, being of service is a joy and a gift. And how, just seeing someone suffering soften from a tool that I can help them with, right? I mean, what a great thing to contribute into our communities.
Thank you, Ariana. So I think by now, everyone is like, yeah, this is great. Let's do it. How do we do it? So I want to make sure that I leave you with a little bit of how, so you can take action, whatever stage you're in. If this is the beginning of your doTERRA business journey, or you've been doing it for a while, and this call is kind of relighting a bit of a spark. And this kind of leads into, the holidays. The holidays are not always the best time to get people to host classes and have, one-to-ones and do all the stuff that we normally do in our business, because people are distracted and they're busy, they have other things going on. But the holidays are an excellent time to launch or relaunch your business, to really start to set the pathway for what's going to happen in the new year. And of course, there are activities that we engage in. I'm just going to list some of the activities because they actually mean nothing without the second part I want to share with you. The activities are inviting people to take a look at the business, inviting people to take a look at the products, inviting people to come to a class, to watch this webinar, inviting. That's really the activities. And after inviting comes following up, because people are busy. It's a lot of contacting. It's a lot of being in a relationship. It's a lot of networking and growing your network and meeting new people. But none of that works if you don't have this compelling why behind what you're doing. And I look at the why as twofold. There's the why that gets me out of the bed in the morning and gets me on this call when I have a cold. Like, my husband looked at me and he was like, "You're sick. Aren't you going to ask somebody else to do the call?" I was like, "No, I want to be on the call. I want, like, what kind of job is that, right? I want to be on the call. I want to be with my community. I'll be fine." So the why that makes me do that is an internal motivating factor, right? And it might be so I can pay my mortgage. It might be so I can start a trust fund for my kids. It's stuff that I might not necessarily talk to you about if I'm inviting you to join me in this business, because it's my internal motivation. It's needed. It's needed. And whatever it is, no judgment, doesn't matter. If you're doing doTERRA so you can buy yourself a Louis Vuitton bag, good for you. But that's not probably going to help you enroll your next business partner by saying, I want a Louis Vuitton bag, so would you enroll so I can buy that, right? Maybe not, but it might be the thing that gets you to do the hard stuff. So honor that, praise it, put it on your vision board, all of it. You're going to need a secondary why. And the secondary why is what you go and you talk to other people about. So I'm going to give you a little example of something I've been coming up with lately, and then I'm going to invite Rebecca to share because she has totally got this one down. So I've been thinking a lot lately about how passionate I am about empowering women with financial health, especially young women, right? Because I was a young woman who went down some pathways that I wish I hadn't gone down. And I know other young women who have ended up doing things to make money that they wish they hadn't had to do. So I would love to influence young women. I'm working with a 20-year-old and a 23-year-old right now. They're doTERRA wellness advocates. They're working to earn an income with them. And not only do I want to teach them how to earn an income, but then I want to match them up with financial planners, real estate advisors. I imagine if I had been 23 years old and I had bought a home or started an investment account or started my credit journey, where I would be now. So that's what lights me up. And I can go to other people who are lit up about that. And I'd say, will you join me? Can we do this together? Now that's an external why that inspires the world and will make people go, yes, I want to join you. So Rebecca, tell us your origin story a bit.
Thank you for asking me. My origin story is that my dear friend, Cameron Harrington, who strangely is side business doing doTERRA at this point, but she had a yoga oils class. And they were dousing us with oils throughout the entire class. And at the end, I was so mesmerized. I was like, oh, okay, just like put it in my veins. It was so miraculous. I don't even understand what happened that day, but I signed up. I got the big kit. Like I did all of these things that never would I have ever done, because my work is in social justice and social impact. And I was just like, I'm not sure what's happening here, but I was like, okay. And then Cameron said, you should probably do this business. And I was like, no, not doing this business. And for many of the reasons that Josie brought up, right? Prohibitively expensive for people in the world that I worked in. In fact, I was even a little embarrassed that I was doing this, and that I talked about it. I didn't talk about it, in general, but like I knew, everybody knew that something had changed for me. And then early in my journey, I learned about healing hands, and all the girls here know too well that I started banging on the door, and everybody helped me on this team. This team is freaking incredible, and got me to talk to all the people, founders and the heads of Healing Hands and otherwise, to talk about how I could actually get oils in the hands of the people that I love most in Guatemala, in Africa, in all of these places that I love. And I was able to do a Healing Hands project where I got $10,000 worth of oils in the hands of women all throughout Guatemala, throughout classes. And it changed my life. And they are still talking to me about the oils. I was just there in August, and they're still asking me questions. I brought more oils down. They're, asking me how to use them. And they can't afford these oils as a general practice. And they're trying to, as a group, figure out what they could do to have the oils in the community so that they could use them. And if there's a will and there's a why, there's a way. I'm telling you, it's possible, and this company will allow that to be possible. I'm generally not like a sucking in the Kool-Aid kind of girl, but this is for true. I am a social justice and social impact person through and through, and people can get these oils no matter what. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to catch up. I haven't ever been anything higher than silver. This, and I'm on and off silver. I use it as a mechanism for me and as for people in my life. And who knows, I might be joining some people in Europe and starting to do something there. So it's a totally new way in which to consider social impact and social justice because of Healing Hands and all of the things that is happening. So thanks for letting me share.
Thanks, Rebecca. So just so everyone knows, doTERRA has a nonprofit organization called Healing Hands. And there's many ways that you can be involved, but my favorite way is what Rebecca's talking about, and that's by applying for a matching grant. And what happens there is if you have a nonprofit that you would like to partner with, so I personally partner with a nonprofit called Ride My Road. We do education awareness and we raise money for survivors of human trafficking. And we're in the process right now of doing our second grant with doTERRA. So it's very easy. You have a nonprofit that you work with, you find a diamond, there's 3 diamonds here. So that's never an excuse that you can't find a diamond, everybody. You find a diamond who's willing to sponsor you and you apply for a matching grant. And then you help this nonprofit raise money, you set your goal, and when you raise your money, doTERRA matches it. So 2 years ago, I did this fundraiser for Ride My Road. We raised $15,000. doTERRA matched it with $15,000. And what that went to is it actually created jobs for survivors of human trafficking. So these are mostly women who were prostitutes or in different situations where they were a part of the life. And when they got out of the life, it's pretty hard to get a job because they often don't have an education. There's often a lot of healing to be done. So there's organizations out there that actually create jobs specifically for survivors, and it's in the field of web design. So that money went to help women get jobs. And we're going to do that again this year. So if you have a organization that you're inspired by or connected with, you can go and help them raise money, and doTERRA will match that money. It is a simple process. It is pretty effortless as far as getting everything set up. They create a donation page for you. All you have to do is do the fundraising. So we tell you this because as you're thinking about, okay, I want to start sharing doTERRA, I want to earn income, you're identifying the level that you're working towards. Maybe it's your oils for free. Maybe it's purely what Rebecca is talking about, which is like earning income for social justice issues. Maybe it's you want 6 figures and you're going to go launch that business. Now, as you go into the holidays, if you can identify why you're doing this, even take it to the next level where you've come up with a movement that you're partnering with, a nonprofit, something like that, then as you are at your holiday parties, as you are visiting with friends and family, as you're just doing what you would normally do anyways, start talking about it. Start telling people the mission you're on. Josie can express her mission of providing healthcare for anyone, no matter their economic stance, because not only does she have protocols that work and solutions that work, but she has a pathway so that they can get it for free. Maybe you're Rebecca and she's doing all her incredible work for empowering women. She can talk about that. Maybe you're Ariana and she loves the fact that she can sit with someone and help them with unsolved health issues, not because she's a doctor, but because she has something that works. Maybe you're me and you want to help to uplift the female visionary and make sure that women are financially empowered. Maybe you have grandkids and your mission is to help other grandparents start college funds for their grandkids, and you have a vehicle of which to do that. It doesn't matter what it is. What matters is that it inspires you and it will inspire the people that you're out talking about. So spend the holidays talking about this, looking for the people who want to partner with you. Then as the new year comes, maybe you launch your Healing Hands project, you have workshops and classes on the books, and you start to help your growing team of people that want to do the same. I hope this has been inspiring. And of course, as always, we are available for questions and coaching and support through it all. And if you want to share this with anyone, you can. We have it on YouTube. We have it on podcasts. We have it on our Facebook groups. And then I will end with, this is also the joy and the gift of this community. Aisha has a class coming up and she has offered it to all of us. So sometimes a challenge with sharing doTERRA can be that you don't have a class on the books, you don't have something to share. So Aisha has a metabolic class coming up. It's online, Thursday, December 1st at 7 p.m. Eastern. And you can get tickets on Eventbrite. I'm going to put that in the chat and I'll put it in the show notes. I'll put it in all the Facebook groups. So this can be another way that you can start the process of sharing doTERRA. Invite some people to Aisha's class. Invite them to watch this video if you've been thinking of them as a potential business partner. And I can't wait to hear what everybody's able to create in 2023. It's going to be a fabulous year. I can feel it. Thanks, ladies. And if there's any gentlemen listening, happy holidays.
Thank you.
Happy
Thank